Welcome to Billion Dollar Marketing Secrets Over Coffee with Biz Coach Steve Feld. Biz Coach Steve interviews fellow successful business owners about the strategies they have used to grow their businesses, and in turn, you can use them to help you navigate your business towards success. Ready to learn strategies to grow your business with less stress and build a long-term sustainable business to exceed your personal and business financial goals to build the business of your dreams? Well, you have come to the right place. Please welcome Biz Coach Steve Feld.
Hello, fellow business owners, and welcome to another episode of Experts Over Coffee. I'm Biz Coach Steve Feld, and my goal is to stop business owners from suffering entrepreneurial depression and make running their businesses much easier, more fun, and highly profitable so they can reach 7 figures and beyond. Today, we have another great guest for you. We have Thomas McClendon. Now, Thomas, he makes it safe to do business on the internet by protecting data, protecting networks, and protecting businesses. Boy, do we need that today. Please welcome Thomas.
Good morning. Great to be here, and thank you for having me.
Great to have you on our show. I mean, this is one thing I think a lot of business owners, fail to see, especially smaller business owners, because it might be the expense, the headache, and they're trying to do it themselves. But when they can hire someone like you who protects them, and we're going to be talking about a lot about cybersecurity. But tell us how you got into this industry. What was that moment?
I honestly, a long time ago, when I was a lot younger and messing around with some on the computer, I accidentally lost some files for my mother, and they were of her pictures of her sister. And her computer wasn't backed up. These were 25 years ago when we didn't think about backing this stuff up. But as a result, I've always tried to fix things and get that data back. And over the last 10 years, that's what drives small businesses. Our number one asset that we're generating today is our data. And if we lose that data, the statistics say you go out of business, you're done. So.
And that's so true. So I know we gave a little brief introduction, but tell us a little bit more about yourself. And
so my passion, why I do what I do, is I am the father of 4 daughters. And I'm trying to teach them the ways of business. I believe that if you're in business for yourself, your possibilities are limitless. So I'm trying to instill good work ethic in them, as well as just follow my passion, which is, I believe, in protecting people. Right? I'm a veteran. I was in the Marine Corps more than half my lifetime ago, and so I'm a protector. And so I joke with my kids that I'm Captain America or I'm Batman. I'm the local Batman, right? Because that's what I want to do. I want to protect. And so for me, it's the classic case of good versus evil, good guys versus bad guys. When it comes to cybersecurity, I'm trying to protect you while the bad guys are trying to get in and take you down. So.
Great. Well, thank you for your service, first of all. And then, who do you serve? Who are your primary clients?
My primary clients right now are small businesses, the solopreneur, small businesses. I can do medium-sized businesses, but a lot of small businesses, one, have never focused on an actual IT department. Right? They just grow as they need to. They hire people as they need to, and they cobble together these systems, and just continue to work so they can grow their business. So that's my focus. My target market, 50 to 100 users or a business. That's where I'm looking at. But I've got plans to cover the solopreneur, the one guy shop, to the larger groups, and everything I offer is scalable. So if you merge with another company one day and you're like, Thomas, I just doubled my head count, we can help accommodate that. But really the small businesses, like I said, they don't have a budget, but they need to start thinking about it and start implementing, especially if you're in the financial sector, the medical sector, that we have compliance laws coming up, and you're going to have to prove you're compliant on a regular basis, or you're going to get fined. It's so much so that states are passing laws that are making me a mandatory reporter, that even if you're a new customer and I can find evidence that you've been breached in the past, I have to report that to the state.
Oh, wow.
Because the states aren't playing around with it anymore.
Yeah, it's been such a hot topic, and we were talking before we hit record about major companies. We'll keep their names off of it, but major companies getting breached all the time. But most people don't realize it's the small business owner are now easy targets because they don't have those walls set up, any of that protection.
80% of all breaches can be attributed back to something an employee did.
Oh, wow.
So you go back, you hear the phrase, people will do stupid, right? How many times have you actually thought about, or maybe even clicked that link that said, get a $500 Starbucks gift card, right? Right? Maybe this is the legit one that I will actually get the gift card this time, right? I've done it. I'll admit it. I've done stupid because I'm like, I just want to see what this might be legit. Maybe I can get that. But the problem is that people will do stupid. So what I'm really doing is not necessarily protecting you from the bad guys. I've got to protect you from yourself, from doing something stupid. Because like I said, 80% of breaches are because of something someone either did knowingly, unknowingly, or didn't do just because they thought it wasn't necessary to do at the time.
Right. And what do you tell the business owners that don't have those kind of protections, those firewalls, the education in their businesses?
The first thing I tell them, if they just say, you know what, this is something we've got to just slowly work into, the first thing I do is, all right, let's just start setting up a regular training program. I've got a regular training program. It's $25 a user per month. If you have one of my packages, it's included. But all it does is once a month, they come out with a great training video regarding a current topic in the cybersecurity field, and allows your employees to watch it. And then once a week, they will get just like a small email reminder, hey, this is the topic, this is what to look for, right? So it's a small drip campaign to keep the cybersecurity always on the mind of your employees. So if you're not doing anything, that's where to start training your employee to what to look out for.
Nice. What is something you would tell a business owner when they're talking to you and you're coming in now to set up the protection for their business and the employees? What is something that they really don't have a clue on?
The biggest clue is, and the argument that a lot of small businesses make is this: I don't have any data anybody wants.
Well, that's a big myth.
That is a big myth, because if I came in and took your access to your data away, you know what you'd be doing? You would be having a very bad day.
Yes.
See, the criminals, the internet hackers, whatever you want to call them, they don't care if your data is valuable, that they can sell it to somebody else. They know that you need it. Mm-hmm. So if they can keep you from it, then they know every minute, every hour that you're without that data, your business is impacted. So if they can get you for a quick $15,000, $20,000, that's what they're going to do, because they know that you want access to that data. So it's not even that you have anything valuable, other than it's valuable to you and they know it.
And we're seeing it more and more in the news, even bigger companies.
Mm-hmm.
They get all the ransomware now.
Yep. Ransomware is the number one thing that that hackers use. I mean, that's where the money is. We're going to lock you out. They're getting smarter. The average hacker will stay on a network 120 days before they're discovered. So at least 4 months. And that's them that's trying to figure out what's on the network, where the data is, how to attack the data, when to attack it. And usually the hackers are only discovered because they are ready for the trap to be sprung. So they're doing things like deleting backups. So if you're doing backups, they'll go find your backups and delete your backups for a month, right? Because, oh, well, I have a backup of my data, so it doesn't matter if I get locked out, I can just restore it.
Right.
Oh, wait, they deleted it because they're getting smarter, right?
Hey,
It's always about staying one step ahead.
it's funny you mentioned that. In one of my businesses, we had the discs, so we backed up every day, pulled them out, and stored them in a safe. And someone did something stupid, clicked on that link, system crashed. Thank God I had the IT and everything else. They go, "Where's your backup?" And it's like, "Here's from last night."
I had a customer that I was working with before I worked with them. They were doing their own backups. They were a CPA firm, and they would do this. So they had a couple portable hard drives, right? They would go in at night, back up the data, and then take that hard drive with them off site, which is one of the things you're supposed to do. Get it away from the building. And they had 2 drives, so they would alternate every other day the drive. The problem that he had was that he put on there, if lost, reward, and his business card.
Oh no.
So what did that just tell whoever found that?
It's important.
There's important data on that, and that it's probably financial data.
Wow.
So doing those type of things are just opening yourself up for the potential of a loss and breach of data.
Wow. Now, do you also put in like their firewalls, security systems, all that kind of stuff inside the company?
So yeah, so we put in firewalls, we put in a better backup system. The rule is that you should have 3 copies of your data. So the one that you're actively working on, one that is actually local there in case for quick data recovery, and then one is off-site. You got to get it away from the building, because what if the building burns down? That's where all your data is. You're still in the same boat. So that's what you do, is you always make sure there's at least 1 copy somewhere else. So that's what we do. We use the power of the internet to remotely back up your data to secured servers. That can help lower the cost. And we start implementing different rules and policies and enforce those for everyone, because that's the other thing, is that, well, I'm the business owner, I don't have to abide by the rules, I'm not going to do this stuff. Well, yeah, you do, because one, when I have to show that you're compliant, I have to show that everybody's following the rules. I liken this approach, when I'm securing a network, to your house. When you leave the house, you make sure the front door is locked, right? But if your garage door is open right next to it, is your house secured? No, you got to make sure the garage door is secured. So in the past, where you could pick and choose what you wanted as a service offering, and we could match you, oh, okay, you want a little bit of option A, a little bit of option B. Now it's like, I have to do it all. There's no choice, because I can't lock your front door but leave your garage door wide open, right? That's not security. And that goes back to your earlier question. That's another paradigm that we in the cybersecurity have to shift our customers to, that I can't just lock your front door.
Right.
I have to make sure every possible entry point is protected some way, somehow. So.
One question I just have to ask is, because I hear this, have you ever been cyber attacked or breached?
I have not, as of yet, been breached, so which is good. I can't necessarily say that it won't ever happen. I mean, because there, like we've discussed earlier, that there's one big one happening right now, happened within the last week. that you would think that, okay, why did they get breached? This organization should not have suffered this type of breach, especially with their business structure. It should not have happened. So granted, we don't know exactly why it happened, how it happened. That will be months down the road when they finally come out with the report of this is how it happened. This is what happened. But a lot of times the breaches are done because people are using poor passwords. There was a breach that because the password was 12345 on a public web server, and they were able to access that public web server that they were then able to work their way through the network that way. So we do stupid stuff, right? But the question isn't if anymore, it's when. That we have to assume that that every business at some point will suffer a breach.
So true. I've known too many business owners that I've worked with, and they've had that issue, and it's like, well, let's get that taken care of because this is important stuff. And you even hear it on Facebook all the time. Someone gets hijacked, their account gets hijacked, and it's the end of the world for them because they're doing everything on Facebook and not taking it off of that platform or backing it up, if you will.
I've had several there's a big one on Facebook right now. So they go online, they said, have you heard about this great government program that's giving you money?
Oh boy.
Right. And usually I know that it's a scam right off because it's usually from a person I never message anyways.
Right.
So it just randomly pops up. So I'll then go and try to reach out to that person through other means to say, look, your account's been hacked. You need to go take care of it. But I'll play along with them for a little while just to keep them entertained and busy. But then eventually, like yesterday, I'm like, look, there was a problem with that link you sent me. And they were like, oh, really? What was wrong with it? Well, the problem was that this account has been hacked and that link isn't designed to do anything but steal my information. About 30 seconds later, they mysteriously vanished from Facebook. So like, was it something I said? I wanted to talk to him some more. But yeah.
But you have the technology knowledge to do that. An average person would do that. Next thing you know, they lost everything.
Yeah. So I mean, again, I have the knowledge to know what I'm doing, but you get those messages, just ignore them or report them to Facebook. Yeah. Their cybersecurity team will eventually get around to it if they get enough reports. But you have to be diligent. That's why, again, the number one thing to do, start training.
Yeah, absolutely. What is one challenge or failure or something of that nature that you've had in your own business and growing it?
The biggest challenge or failure. The biggest challenge is usually myself. I get in my way too many times, and I haven't learned when to outsource things. Right? In order to grow a business, you have to realize that you can't do everything. Right? At some point, there are things you have to outsource. You've got to let or delegate to an employee. And that is the biggest thing, is knowing when to do that and to relinquish the control. Because until you do that, until you can trust employees to do the work, your business will hit a wall. It will grow to a certain point, and then eventually it will stagnate that you will only be able to support X amount of clients. Well, why is that? That's because you're not giving up the control. Your employees are helping you support those clients that you have by doing by providing the services, but at some point, because you haven't given up some sort of control, it stagnates because you have to stop working in the business and start working on the business. And that's usually what's the biggest thing, because I love tech. I love what I do. I love cybersecurity. I'm a geek. I build my own computers. I love networks. My home network is amazing. But at some point, I don't have enough time to get it all done.
Right.
So that's really been the biggest challenge, is that I have to be able to step away from doing those things and allow my employees to do those.
Couldn't agree with you more. I mean, that's one thing I've talked to my business owners, clients. It's, you know, at a certain point, you got to let things go in order to grow. You cannot do everything yourself. And you're horrible in accounting. Then why are you even trying accounting? Someone loves that stuff and they're going to do it in a tenth of the time with no frustration, no aggravation, and it's going to save you so much money.
Precisely, because you think it's essentially it's the return on investment, right? How much is my time worth?
There you go.
Right. If I value my time at $200 an hour, and I can hire, and likewise, I've told people this when I'm fixing stuff, right? What is your time worth? I can come in and do it. Yeah, I might charge $200 an hour, but how long? And it might take me an hour to do it. But how long is it going to take you to do it? Right. And how much time is that and money is that going to cost you? Right. Well, that might take me 4 hours, and my time is $150 an hour. So that's $600 you just spent to fix something I could have done for a third of that. So using appropriate resources is something you've got to learn.
That's it. And you're going to get it done right and know it because you're knowledgeable in that area. Whereas a business owner is going to fumble bumble, and who knows what real cause in the future they're going to, what problem they're really causing down the road.
Absolutely.
It's like, I don't mess around with my cybersecurity. I just do this, and my IT guy goes in and does it all. And I'm like, what'd you do? He just goes, blah, 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 because that's all I hear. And I go, am I protected? He goes, yeah, and I'll check on it every month. I went, all right.
They should be, if they're doing their job right, they should at least be providing a quarterly report. I'm working to try to provide at least my larger clients a monthly report. This is where we're at. This is where we're going. This is what we need to work on. But that's the other thing is you can't just set it and forget it.
No.
You've got to continually be looking at it because things are going to change. You've got to know what you're protected against and what you're not protected against, because the bad guys are going to find a way in. One way or the other, they're going to find a way in. And those threats are going to consistently change, right? Today, it's just trying to get an employee to click on a link.
Right.
Well, what's going to happen when they can't get employees to click on links? Now they've got to find another way to get into networks. So a lot of breaches are not brute force attacks. Right. And those are a brute force attack is when someone's just sitting there at a computer and you see that they're trying to hack into your network. That's not what they are. A lot of it is because someone clicked a link that allowed them into the network.
So it's little teeny tiny things. I know I've had employees that click on that video link that wasn't a video link, and next thing you know, the system crashes.
Yep. Yeah, that's again another thing that we do in training is we'll simulate phishing emails. So we'll send out an email, looks pretty legit, but isn't. There's some things in there that to look for, and if people click on it, then they'll go get to watch a 5-10 minute video of what they just did wrong.
Little punishment for that clicking. Good. And what would you tell business owners right now that they need to focus on regarding cybersecurity, their IT systems to the outside world?
So the first thing is if you aren't talking about it, you need to start talking about it. Okay. Find out who your internal stakeholders are. If you're a large or small company, you have 50, 100 employees, your department managers, because we're going to need their buy-in to promote this, right? Because they're setting the culture, they're setting the expectations, and they're going to be expected to follow the rules. Because it's about enforcing policies. I used to work security, physical security, one of the things I did many years ago. The thing that would get me the most is we would have these policies that we are supposed to enforce, but they wouldn't get enforced. Or someone would break them and nothing would happen, right? So you're going to have policies that are enforced and mean something at all levels. I actually have the same thing is with HR, right? If you have HR policies, if an employee breaks the policy, they're disciplined or removed from the company, right? The same thing has to be done in security. You've got to have the policies in place. They've got to be enforced. And then again, start training your people. If you actually have an IT department, I tell those companies, those businesses, your IT department should not be focused on the basics,
Right.
which is even providing email. They don't need to be worried about providing email. They shouldn't be worried about responding to your employees' issues, computer issues, network issues. Those all should be outsourced to a company like me now, who specifically does cybersecurity. You'll still find some companies that aren't doing anything with cybersecurity. Stay away from those because they're not protecting you. But the fact is that if you have an internal IT department, your internal IT department should be focused on looking at the new technologies that are out there and how they can help your business grow. Not, hey, okay, Wendy, let me help you with that computer issue. Right? That's not what you want from them. They're more valuable understanding your business and what the new technologies are out there and how to incorporate those into your business.
Those are some fantastic points, and I hope everyone got that, because that is so true. Well, Thomas, we had a great time today, and thank you for being our guest and sharing your expertise. How can people get a hold of you if they're like, oh boy, I better make sure I'm protected, or see if I'm properly protected?
So the best way is just follow the QR code. That will get you to my form, my website, that you can drop me an email. I've got you can give me a phone call. My phones are answered normal business hours by a live person, so you're not going to get stuck in voicemail purgatory. Because honestly, if you go to my voicemail, I won't see it for three weeks, and then by then it's useless, right? So, but no, you'll get a live person that will talk to you, and if they can schedule a meeting, an online meeting. I've got my online calendar today, so you can schedule some time right off the bat. They'll come up and say, these are your available times or my availability, and we can find some time to connect. So the QR code will do all that for you.
Great. Well, we'll also have your URL in the show notes. So for everyone on the podcast, they can click on that and it'll take you right to Thomas's website and connect with him. Make sure you're protected. Cover those IT issues.
Yep.
Once again, thanks a lot, Thomas, for joining us and sharing all your knowledge. It really does help. And I hope our listeners understand, like, listen, get a pro to do this stuff. You can't hobble through it or watch a couple YouTube videos and think you got it down. It just doesn't work like that in this stuff. Get someone who knows what they're talking about, what they do, and they touch it every day.
Absolutely. Thank you, Steve.
And if you like Thomas and other experts on this show, please make sure you give us a positive review. I'm sure Thomas would love to hear how great he is. And subscribe to the channel and like this episode and share it. I'm Biz Coach Steve Feld, wishing you and your business much success.
We hope you liked today's guest on $1 Billion Marketing Secrets Over Coffee. If you'd like to see how much hidden revenue we can uncover for you, well, click on the link in the show notes to speak with Steve. Mention the podcast when you book the meeting. You will receive a special gift. Make sure to like this episode and subscribe to this podcast to hear other great proven business leaders share their strategies to help you grow your business.